So welcome, Oli Cavaliero. I feel like I might have nailed that first time. Did I get that right first time?
Nearly.
So close. Oli,
Okay.
give the people a good introduction of yourself, and maybe you just pronounce your name correctly, and I'll learn something.
I'm Oli Cavaliero, so it's Cavaliero rather than Cavaliero, but everyone does that mistake. I work for Honest Burgers. I'm head of employer brand. So that is everything from employer brand, recruitment, internal communications and engagement as well.
Amazing. Sounds like fun. Honest is a great brand as well, isn't it? How long have you been there?
Yeah. Just over 4 years. Maybe 4.5 years, about 4.5 years now. So yeah, so I joined and there was 10 restaurants and we're just about to be at number 40.
Oh, top draw. Quite an innovative business as well, yeah?
Yeah. No, exactly. We're always up for trying new things, pushing the boat, pushing the boundaries and seeing what's next, I guess. So we never want to just keep it good. We always want to go that next level.
That's always the goal. It's always the goal. So in the name of that, let's talk about doing some group interviews, because group interviews, you can kind of do an okay job, but if you're not prepared effectively, then that's potentially all you're going to do. And we want to try and help some people be thoroughly prepared and ready to roll with this. So when it comes to group interviews, I guess the starting point is, what is a group interview? How would you describe it?
I'd say a group interview is well, obviously it's an interview. It's an opportunity to come and present yourself with other candidates, where you would probably go through different exercises or tasks, and you'll be assessed probably on your behaviours throughout a session, which may be a morning session, it might be an all-day group interview, it just depends. And yeah, so they would assess your behaviours, your values, and how you interact with the team and work with other people, and assess that alongside if they think you would be a good fit for the business.
Top draw. And how would you say they differ primarily from a kind of a traditional interview?
I would say, a traditional one-to-one interview. My personal feeling is I prefer to do group interviews. One, I think they're a bit more fun. Two, I think you'll get a lot more out of it from an employer, but also as a candidate going to the interview, you'll learn a bit more. You'll be able to showcase more of your skill set, especially if you're going to hospitality. Sitting either side of a table where naturally you're either going to be the person that's with a team in a kitchen or interacting with hundreds and thousands of people every single day or every single week. So I think it's an opportunity to showcase who you are a lot more, and as a company they'll be able to showcase who they are as well, whether it be cooking you some food or taking you through the story of the company, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's a much more kind of interactive, a much more kind of engaging process, and maybe something a touch more akin to our life in hospitality on a day-to-day basis anyway.
Yeah, a lot more transferable. Yeah.
Perfect. So why do you think employers hold those? What are the key benefits to employers?
I think from an employer's point of view, firstly, it's I think you can see more than one person at one time. If you're doing one-to-one interviews, firstly, that person is potentially going to be extremely nervous. So, you can be as excited or prepared as you can be. Those nerves are always going to be there, which are a good thing. So a group interview would relax those nerves. It's not so intimidating. You can see how that person interacts with other people. Usually, if you were to have, for example, a group of 10, you're then probably going to have 3 or 4 assessors there, so people from the business. So that's 4 people's opinions, 4 people assessing that group, rather than just having to make that assessment on someone just from sitting over the table on a one-to-one conversation. There's usually more time, so there's different exercises throughout the morning or throughout the day, so you're able to showcase or you're able to see the candidate showcasing more of a skill set I think what we need to know as employers when we're doing group interviews is that everyone's different, and that's a good thing, because it's I think it's a bit of a myth that if you're coming in with big jazz hands and you're the loudest person in the group, that means you're going to be the person that gets through to the next stage. It's that's a myth. You can't have a whole team of people with jazz hands, and because it doesn't work. You need those people who are going to be maybe a little bit more introverted, or people who just really speedy behind the bar and pouring pints, or someone that's just really good at running food.
Yep.
That's that makes the perfect team. So from an employer, we're able to see that in the group. We understand, or we all plan beforehand, and we'll know exactly what we need. What are the character traits that we are looking for that either work in that team or work in the business, and that's what we look for then on the group interview. And most likely that group interview will be tailored for the needs for the business. So we look at what are the exact positions we need. So then we'll look at, we'll have a brief beforehand. So then we really kind of dive in deep to understand who is best suited for the position or positions that we're recruiting for.
Top draw. Excellent stuff.
And probably with that, as well, the more time, a lot of our restaurants in London. So most of the time we're going to be recruiting more than just one position. So it's an opportunity for us to recruit multiple people. But ultimately, if we've got multiple hires, it's much easier to see everyone at the same time. And it's more fun. It's more fun for us as well. So that's always a good thing.
Well, I mean, this process is a two-way street, isn't it? So we've all got to have a good time when we're in it. No mucking around. And I think you're right. I think if you're going to be employing multiple people, then it's also, yes, it saves time. But what it does actually do is gives you an opportunity to see how those people engage and interact with each other. And you're going to be able to see that on shift as well. So it's already given you a much wider picture of how these people are going to bed into your business.
Yeah, exactly. And that experience from really from the moment someone even looks at your business, from researching whether it be your careers page or looking at your job adverts. If you've got an amazing careers site and your job adverts sound really engaging and really inviting, and that's what's caused a person to apply for the position, and then suddenly the next part of the process is actually quite flat and boring and a little bit awkward, by sitting down and having a one-to-one interview, which isn't that purposeful for the start of the job role. That experience just doesn't even out. So I think each touch point of the candidate journey is really, really important. So that's why we do it, because you're kind of setting that tone of, okay, these are the job adverts. That's what's caused you to apply for the position. That's what made you apply for the position. And then we invited you into a group interview, which is really fun, really engaging. We've told you all about the business that you wouldn't have known beforehand. You've tried some food. You've met 5 or 6 different people from the company, including people who may be the same level as that person's applying for.
Yeah,
you have much better experience throughout that candidate journey. And I think from us as employers, we should be doing everything we can to make it the best session possible, because it sets the tone, and it sets a level at what we expect from the candidate as well. So if we're putting on an amazing group interview, well, tell you what, if you get past that group interview, that's the level that we expect of you from the moment you come into the business. If we didn't really care about the group interview, we didn't, acknowledge that you were at the door, and didn't really, we didn't know your name before you arrived, then you know what, you'll probably come to the business at that level as well. So, so that's why.
Okay, so that's a whole load of benefits to the employer. And I guess if you flip it on its head, what would be the benefits to the candidates? And I think you've already touched on one there, that there's potentially 4 or 5 people who are going to be assessing that group interview process. Now, you may not connect with one person. We've all been in an interview where we haven't connected with the interviewer, but if there's multiple people assessing you, it's not quite so desperate that you connect with that person on that level, because you've got other options. What are the other benefits that you would see to the candidates for this process?
I think you're going to have more time there. An interview usually lasts, let's say, 35, 45, up to an hour long, maybe. There's only so much information you're going to get during that time, and most of the time the interviewer is probably going to be asking you the question. So you'll be able to learn more about the business, which is really important. You want to know everything you can before you go and join the organization. The group interview should be 50-50 always. You'll be able to see other people applying to the position, and you should use that as a benefit. Spot who you want to introduce yourself to. So you need to be able to make yourself look good. Be yourself. So be confident in regards to your abilities. So know your skill sets and use them when you're in the group. So more times than not, there'll be group tasks to do. Use those group tasks to be able to showcase what you're good at. That might be taking lead of a group. It might be organisation. It might be planning and preparation for the task that you've been given. So whatever your skill set is, you'll be able to showcase it during 1, 2, or 3 different activities that the assessors will be able to put on for you. As well, I think you'll be able to showcase your genuine behaviours. Like you should be able to feel more relaxed once you get into the activities, so it's not so intimidating as that kind of 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 firing questions at you, which can be daunting. So I think it's just good that an assessor can just see you in real life, and actually, this is a job as a waiter or a chef. That's what you're applying to. So it's more experience working in the team and showcasing what you can do within the team.
Nice. I think it's a really good kind of synopsis, and it's a great opportunity for you to just be you, which in any kind of interview process is absolutely key. There's no point in kind of faking it until you're going to get in there and go, well, actually, this is not for me at all, because my real self just doesn't really fit. So it is a really good opportunity. And I think we also, within hospitality, I think one of the things that we are amazing at is building rapport relatively quickly with our guests. We don't get a huge amount of time. So again, you talked about going and finding people who you're going to connect with and thinking, right, how do I build a relationship with these people? Again, from your perspective, it's more comfortable. As soon as you start to feel like you've got an ally, you start to feel more comfortable and you get more relaxed. But again, it's also demonstrating to the employer that actually I can build these relationships relatively quickly. So it's a win-win there, isn't it, to be honest with you?
Yeah, 100%. Just use every bit of everything they throw at you, whether it be questions or tasks. Use it to your benefit, because it's you being able to showcase what you can do in a real life situation around people in a group.
Top draw. So they're gonna throw quite a few different things at you. What sort of things are employers assessing when they're going through these different activities?
Well, I think I'll just use this from my experience holding group interviews. I look at everything. So, I don't look at your CV. I don't want to see your CV during that group. Your CV's got you there. Or your application has got you there. So that now doesn't matter. We're looking at from the moment you arrive all the way through to the moment you leave, and actually kind of beyond that as well. So we'll spot, if you're on time or if you're a little bit early. We'll see, are you talking to people outside or in the waiting area when you're just about to come in. We'll be watching. We'll be seeing. That sounds really creepy, I know, but
we are watching.
We're watching you.
In a really warm and friendly way.
Yeah, but going back to the question, so you'll see what time people are arriving, how they're interacting with people in the group. We would have some core behaviours that we would want them to demonstrate throughout some of the exercises. For example, ambition, ambition, and then there'll be kind of some drop downs from ambition. Did they ask us what the fastest time was to complete it?
Yeah.
What did they do to beat their last time in the previous exercise, as an example? So we'll be assessing on our behaviours that we look for or we value to be a successful waiter or a successful chef or a successful manager, for example. Through to then, at the end of an exercise, if you were using some equipment, were you tidying the equipment away? Did you bring other people into the group who may have been a little bit quieter or maybe looked a little bit uncomfortable? Did that person ask them their thoughts? Did we hear that person talk over other people? When you went for a break halfway through, did you come back on time, or were you a few minutes late, but felt it was okay to be a few minutes late because everyone else was? So it's the full shebang that we look for, because it really does represent what that person's going to do or what the candidate's going to do when they come and join us on day one, because that's when it all starts.
I mean, all of those behaviors you've just talked about are all represented in our daily working life within hospitality. That kind of, are you going to be putting equipment away? Are you going to be keeping your workspace clean and tidy? Are you going to be looking to engage that person who's maybe not quite so confident and finding a way of kind of helping them to raise them up and give them a voice, or rather just kind of talk over them? All of that stuff just carries across. And sometimes I guess it's easy to sit in these kind of group interview stages and think, what is this all about? But actually all of it has a purpose.
All of it's got a purpose. And yeah, you're exactly right that everything there is what we do on a day-to-day. So that's what we are looking for.
So we know what the employers are assessing, but what do they want to see from the candidates? What behaviours are they looking to say, right, okay, be big and bold with this and be comfortable? What are they looking? What are we looking to hear from most?
You know what? I think it's a tricky one, because there's obviously things that are obvious, but arrive on time, as I said earlier. Arrive on time, come back on time. Don't be on your mobile halfway through when someone's talking about the business. But I think you've just got to be yourself. You've just got to come as you are. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in your skill set and the reason why you're there. So, as I said earlier on, we're not looking for a whole team of people who are football players or netball players or all into their books. We're looking for different characters to form a really successful team. So just be confident in your skills before you get there. That's what part of the research that you should be doing, is researching yourself. What are you good at? What can you bring to a team? So when the opportunity arises to make a difference in one of the exercises, that's when you need to showcase your skills. So if you're the most organised person in London, when that time comes, when you need to organise 3 or 4 other people because you've got an exercise to complete, that's your time to shine. So, but what you don't want to be doing is be that organised person, and that's your true skill set, and then suddenly the group needs a leader because you're falling behind and you're not a natural leader, and suddenly you've just tried really hard to take the lead because no one was doing it. I appreciate you might want to kind of do it, push someone else to do it, but actually if that's not your natural habitat, don't go into it, because it might look like that you're trying too hard, and sometimes that's when you find yourself talking over someone, making a mistake, and kind of coming a bit off balance as well in how you're showing up during the interview.
Nice. So you touched on some of the preparation elements as well that we should be doing before this, and that self-awareness is absolutely key, kind of highlighting knowing your own strengths and development areas. And so far, everybody I've spoken to doing these has said, let's make lists. A lot of people making lists around this country. There's no getting around that. So making a list of your strengths and your development points and thinking, right, where am I going to absolutely shine? And looking for those opportunities to be able to do that. And where am I potentially going to fall down, and thinking, well, maybe I'll step back. And you're right, you might feel tempted to step in and think, well, somebody needs to take a leadership role, and it's not me by nature, but somebody needs to do it. So I'm going to be the person.
Yeah, exactly.
And that could go badly.
Yeah.
Any other things that we should be looking to do for preparation?
Yeah, I think preparation, of course, you need to research the company. You don't want to turn up at the group interview and you don't really know many things about the company. When we run group interviews, or our general managers run the group interviews, they hope that people know something about Honest Burgers, other than we sell burgers and chips. But find out when it started, how many restaurants or stores they have. Find out what they're doing for local charities, and just find out some interesting facts about the business, because that will make you stand out right at the beginning. What you don't want to be doing is, or you don't want to be in the moment where other people are saying things they know about the business that they've researched, and you haven't got anything to say. So yeah, try and do your research beforehand. Know the job, what jobs you've applied for. Go through the roles and the responsibilities, just to equip yourself. So put in some time, because this is your career at the end of the day. So it should be really, really important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as part of that preparation, if I'm prone to nerves, what can I do to kind of to try and kind of quell those nerves and just calm them down just a little bit? Any tips?
Don't turn up drunk.
That is not where I thought you were going to go to start off with, but okay, let's roll with it.
Well, we've definitely
That
had
feels
that
like a man who's, you're speaking from experience now, aren't you?
Speaking from experience, don't turn up drunk. It doesn't. It's not the best way to show up at a group interview. Best way is, look, nerves are good. It means you're excited. It means you want to be there. It means that you want to make an impression, and then that causes those butterflies in your belly. Yeah. So don't be worried. Don't be worried if you have got nerves. But what you can do is prevent everything else from getting on top of you. So make sure that you have planned your routes to get there. So you're not arriving late, or you're not arriving just about on time, that you're rushing there and then you turn up hot and sweaty. So make sure you've planned your route and just get there early. I would always say get there an hour early or half an hour early, go and find somewhere to have a coffee, go through some of your notes again, and then put your notes away. Just enjoy yourself. Speak to one of your friends on your phone, just so you're turning up and you're kind of in a positive mindset, you're in a positive mood, and there's nothing else that can go wrong. But the chances are those nerves are probably still going to be there. So don't beat yourself up. But it's just everything else you can do just to prevent anything else getting on top of you.
I think you made a good point at the beginning there. It's kind of embrace those nerves, because it's a good thing. That means you're excited. That means this is important to you and you want to be successful. So find a way of just really just kind of letting them live and letting them exist. That's not a bad thing to have those butterflies.
Yeah, and it's natural. You can't just tell them to go away. They're going to be there. They're going to be there. But
Not
just
one of us is a machine.
Exactly. But yeah, embrace it. They're a good thing, but just do what you can so those nerves don't get a bit too much. Coffee, and just relax and speak to a friend and get some positivity.
So, if I'm in the interview process, what are some of the kind of the most common mistakes that you see people make? The kind of the areas where you think, oh, just you don't really want to have done that. I know.
I would say there's a few from, again, experience. There's just some bugbears, really. I think turning up late is just a no-go. Hey, I know things happen, buses break down, or things happen. Yep. So if you are late, try and communicate that with the person who's organised the interview. So just put them a message just to say what's happened, but let them know that you're on your way. But just do everything you can not to be late. And that's what I mean by saying arrive half an hour early, just because if you are then a bit late, you're still not going to be late for the interview.
Yep.
If you're able to go outside and have a cigarette and you're given 5 minutes as a break, don't come back after 6 minutes. Come back after 5 minutes. So do listen to the instructions. Remember, you're there to present you as a potential employee. So if one of the interviewers is doing a talk at the beginning, telling you all about Honest Burgers or about their company, listen to them. You want to be engaged. You want to listen. So if your phone goes, you don't need to read that text message. Or if someone starts talking to you next to you, just tell them not right now, because you're engaged, you want to be there. So I think they're probably the common ones that we see pretty far too often, or talking over someone too many times. They're just traits that are so noticeable for assessors, that you might not think are noticeable, but they really, really are. And actually, it does affect other people as well. So if you want to be late, that's fine, but don't let someone else be late off the break by talking to them as well. So just bear that in mind.
I think one of the key points you're making there is the majority of people who are assessing these kind of group activities and these group exercises, they're experts. It's not their first time on the merry-go-round, so they know we know what we're looking at. We know exactly what we're paying attention for. So nothing will really kind of get by. Nothing will just get hidden. So you're right. Kind of, if you get 5 minutes, take 5 minutes. Even better, take 4 minutes and be back in your seat, waiting and ready and raring to go.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think raring to go is a great way to say it, because we want to see people who are excited to be there. What you don't want is someone who has, they've been out the night before and it's noticeable, they're yawning and they're not really ready to be there. They don't really know why they want to be there. If you've been invited to a group interview, see it as an opportunity to do really well. And you know what? You might not take the position or you might not be successful, but it's all experience, which is going to help you in your next interview that you have, or later on in life as well. So just see it as positive experience for your career.
Well, it's a great relationship building opportunity as well, isn't it? You, like you say, you might not be successful, but all it takes is for you to make a relationship, build a bond with one person who kind of maybe does get a job somewhere else. And because, you know what, I met this guy last week, this girl, she was amazing. You should talk to her as well.
Yeah.
Those little moments, those moments of serendipity will absolutely occur.
Yeah, exactly. And then you should be able to get some feedback afterwards. And that feedback, whatever the feedback, positive, or areas that you need to work on, use it as an opportunity again, because it doesn't mean that you might not be successful then. You might be successful in a year's time. They might call you back, or you might apply again. So be the best version of you.
I think that's a great way to finish this up, Ollie. Be the best version of you. That's the simple answer. And that's really what we should be signing up for every day,
eh? 100%.
Amazing. Mate, thank you very much. It's been an absolute blast. That has absolutely just rattled by.
Actually, I know. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
Entirely our pleasure, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you.